runaways.
This is the last place I would expect to find another autistic person,
Thank you. Slightly overestimated how tall I am there.
let alone see one on stage. Now, improv might not be my cup of tea, but I am impressed by Flo's confidence and wit. It's often said that autistic people struggle in large groups, but the audience are eating out of her hands.
I can transfer you to a clinic.
Hello.
All right.
Okay.
Now I am, yeah.
Why weren't you before?
I was incredibly nervous.
A lot of the people who meet you, I think, will see a confident young woman who's on the stage doing comedy in front of a large audience of people. These are not things that people would normally associate with autism.
No.
Why are you comfortable to do improv?
I think for me, any conversation at any point in time is improvisation. So improv comedy for me is exactly what I do when I go to the shop and the person behind the counter is asking me about my day. The way that I hope to communicate with that person is usually based on rules. I love rules in a conversation. I love small talk because if someone goes, "How are you doing? How was your day?" I can go, "It was great, thank you. How was yours?" I know what comes next.
If that isn't really you, that's something that you've created in order to be able to exist in that environment.
Yeah.
So typically, we would describe that as masking, and a lot of autistic people use that.
I mean, the eye contact that I'm making with you now is
You're
real.
conscious of it?
Yeah.
So am I.
Yeah.
Looking at you. It's weird, isn't it?
And I'm not looking at your eyes, I'm looking here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So would you say then that being... Masking, or camouflaging, is when autistic people consciously copy the behaviour and mannerisms of others, whilst keeping anything society deems unusual hidden away.
I'm never speaking my native language, and it is exhausting. I'm really tired. I've burnt out from work. I've burnt out from friendships. I isolate myself sometimes, and that happens, more frequently than I would like it to. What percentage of your life do you think is that added part you've built around your personality so that you can be socially functional? I'd say 95% of my time that I'm awake, I am masking. When I'm with my husband, Duncan, I'm not under the same pressure. I think he's the only human being alive who's ever seen me unmasked. What about your parents? No.
This is shocking, but sadly not uncommon. Did you grow up around here then, Flo?
I didn't. My mum, in the last few years, has lived here with my stepdad, Ian. Hello?
Because if there's one person in the world she'd really like to open up to, it's her mum.
How are you doing? All right?
Yeah.
Ruth.
Chris,
Hello.
Ruth.
Hi, Chris.
How'd you do?
My mum.
Yeah, please.
We go
Now,
through.
Flo wasn't
I'll nip through.
diagnosed as autistic until her early 20s.
Yeah. I've got loads of photos of Flo.
Just a couple then.
Just a couple.
So I'm curious whether there were any clues in her childhood.
Yeah. I mean, I'm in a lot of boxes. And that's me at my birthday, very, very anxious.
Yes, didn't like that at all, did you?
I didn't want the attention, I don't think.
Here's a difficult question to ask a mother. As a percentage, how well do you think you know your daughter?
I will say 93%.
Okay.
Very precise.
Yes.
I love the precision. I love the three. I won't ask why the difference between 2 and 3. That's a very high percentage.
Yeah.
OK, Flo, now you've got to be honest as an autistic person. What percentage do you think that your mum knows you?
Probably 70%.
OK.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a 23% difference.
There is a bit of a difference, yeah.
How do you feel the chat with your mum went then?
I want to, embark on being more open with her about what it is like having autism. But I'm still afraid that she'd be upset or disappointed if she saw both sides of me or the whole me.
You don't think the good would outweigh, I'm not going to say it's bad, the other?
I think it probably would. I think it's just difficult for me to get there. It felt like when I was born, I wasn't given the handbook on being a normal human being, and I hated myself. Still something that I struggle with, to be honest.
It's one of the things that gets me up and makes me want to talk about these sorts of things. I still feel that there are teenagers, people in their early 20s out there in their bedrooms beating themselves to death, quite frankly, because there isn't an option for them in that moment. And we've got to say to them, you know, there is. And it does continue to get better.